before the Senate were in previous impeachment motions. To the best of your knowledge, does the law permit the county assembly to reintroduce previous charges?
Yes, according to Section 33 of the County Governments Act, it's allowed after 3 months.
If a governor persists in the very conduct that triggered the first impeachment, can the county assembly be faulted for bringing a second, third, or even 10th if the misconduct does not cease?
No, it can't.
The governor has talked about the case, or rather a traditional oathing ritual at paragraph 6 of compel the assembly to impeach her. To the best of your knowledge, sir, was there any traditional oathing ritual administered at the Jurincheke shrine as alleged by the governor?
No, because I was at that event and it was a tree planting occasion led by the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, and also the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture was present.
So this was a tree planting event. Was
Yes.
it a Jurincheke event?
Of course not. It was an event spearheaded by the Ministry of Environment.
As to the best of your knowledge, sir, does the Jurincheke administer oaths in the presence of non-members?
It doesn't, and I can attest to that because I'm a member of the Jurincheke.
Does the Jurincheke administer oaths in the presence of children?
No, because they are not members of the cultural association.
Were there children in this event alleged to have been an oathing ceremony?
They were present.
But Mr. Mawere, let's assume for argument's sake, the Jurincheke somehow got intermingled in this matter. Would you expect the Jurincheke to be concerned if Meru is in a perpetual and apparently insoluble crisis?
They should, because it's a high respected council of elders, and it has no problem, or it is not prohibited from indulging in matters that affect the great people of Meru.
The governor says all these things we alleged against are acts of other officials who should bear their own responsibility. What is your response to that?
Sorry?
The governor at paragraph 12 of our response tells the Senate that this litany of complaints you have against her relates to acts and omissions committed by other county officials. Are these other county officials in the governor's office?
Yes, they are.
Are some of them the governor's immediate siblings?
Yes, they are.
Do governors actually always act in person, or they act through junior officers?
They act through junior officers, of course, appointed by the governor, and others employed by the County Public Service Board.
So if governors in practice do most of their work through delegation to county officials, is it a valid defense to say it wasn't me?
It isn't a valid defense.
Do we have instances in our response where she relies on acts of county officials, but when it is not convenient, she says it wasn't me?
Yes, they are there.
Should she have it both ways? When it suits her, the acts of the county officials should be considered. When it doesn't suit her, they should not be considered.
She can't have it both ways.
Can a governor be heard to say that millions upon millions of county funds paid to our own sister, the secretary of our own chief of staff in our own office, that she somehow was aloof and shouldn't take responsibility for that?
The governor can't allude to that.
The governor says the MCAs have no issue with her at paragraphs 4, 1, 8, and 16, and that you and your colleagues are acting under internal, external influence and intimidation to facilitate a political scheme. Is that correct?
That is not true.
Is she the foremost peacemaker in Meru, as she says at paragraph 17 of her defense?
It has been illustrated she's not.
She says the public participation was a sham. Has she identified any specific shortfall of that public participation?
None.
She says she's been rated among the top 10 best performing governors in Kenya. What is
Was then the bodies also read the governor, like the timely survey that ranked the governor position 40 out of 47 in Kenya. So there is a.
Did the governor disclose that she was relying on this survey produced just after the impeachment, that there was another survey also ranking her 40 out of 47?
No.
So she is happy to have the survey ranking highly considered, but not the one ranking her in the bottom.
Yes, that is true.
But let's assume, for argument's sake, Mr. Mawira, that indeed the governor was rated, and validly so, as one of the best performing. Would that mean she didn't commit any of the acts she is accused of?
There is not evidence contrary to, or evidence to adduce that she has not committed any crime.
If those acts are impeachable, would they cease to be impeachable because she is the best performing governor?
No way.
Let's go to our specific responses. She says you have not adduced any evidence to support the count 1 on misappropriation and misuse of county funds. What is your response?
That is not true, because we have adduced evidence in our volume 2.
As a matter of fact, is there anything else in volume 2 other than evidence?
No, it's the Assembly's evidence.
She says Salesio Mutuma is misrepresenting and misreading the entries on the IFMIS report. To the best of your knowledge, did the governor produce any other IFMIS report other than the one before the Senate?
No.
As a matter of fact, in our defense, is the governor relying on that same IFMIS report?
She's relying on the same IFMIS extract.
Can she rely on the IFMIS report we have when it favors her, but disown it when it doesn't favor her?
Sorry?
Can she urge the Senate to accept the IFMIS report to the extent that it exonerates her, but to reject it to the extent that it shows wrongdoing on her part?
As long as it is the same report she's relying on, she can't.
She says she did not use her relatives to embezzle public funds. Did we take the Senate through millions upon millions of shillings taken by our relatives as prepayments?
Yes, we have already taken the Senate through that part of the evidence.
She says the matter is before EACC. I don't know, another matter is in court, another matter is in some other forum. To the best of your knowledge, sir, does the pendency of any complaint or inquiry preclude the county assembly or the Senate from impeaching a governor if they are persuaded that the governor has fallen short of the standard required under Chapter 6?
No, because the Assembly's oversight role doesn't depend or is not conditional on what the ACC is doing. And also, I believe the Senate's powers.
Would you consider the governor to be sufficiently proximate to all these persons who withdrew 78 million shillings from the county irregularly?
Yes, they are close, people who are very close to the governor.
Why do you say they are very close?
Some are relatives and the others work in an office that is under the office of the governor.
A governor who is unaware that the whole 78 million shillings has been siphoned from the county, would that strike you as a diligent governor?
No.
Would that strike you as a competent governor?
Of course not.
How many times does the secretary to the governor's chief of staff appear on the IFMIS report receiving prepayments contrary to PFM laws? How many times?
She appears 87 times.
87 times.
Yes.
And the total amount paid to her regularly per that IFMIS, whose authenticity is not in issue, is how much?
21,868,944 shillings.
How many times does Lydia Nkatha appear? The one you say as an entanglement with the chief of staff?
8 times.
8 times. How does withdrawn how much?
3,606,400 shillings.
The governor has produced some vouchers and imprests, and indeed our answer is that these payments to our sister were imprest she takes on behalf of other people. Is that a valid defense according to your understanding of these documents?
It is not.
Are those imprest the governor has submitted, signed by the relevant officers?
They are not supported or signed by the relevant officers like the director of accounts and also the chief of finance. And also the examiner has not signed the relevant supporting document that she provided.
Even incomplete as they are, out of the 78 million, how much has the governor accounted for?
On average, 2 million.
2 million.
Yes.
Jane Karimikaevia, who we are told we misrepresent hospitality for hospital. First of all, does the motion misrepresent hospitality payments as payment for hospital supplies?
No, it does not.
As a matter of fact, does the impeachment motion mention hospital?
Nowhere does the impeachment motion mention hospital.
You are told you have accused, or you say Jane Karimikaevia is a relative of the governor. Is there any place we have said she is a relative of the governor?
Nowhere, the motion.
The same for Catherine, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's interrogate the defense of per diems and imprests. Would that explain the 107 irregular payments, stalled prepayments on IFMIS?
It doesn't.
The vouchers and imprests that the governor has produced, do they explain the big payments to our sister and other relatives, or they focus on the petty payments?
It doesn't, because I think they conveniently focus only on the small payments and that account for only 2 million out of the 78 million that they have alleged to misappropriate.
As a matter of fact, sir, we are still interrogating whether these were impressed for per diem. Does the IFMIS report indicate payments that are per diems?
Sorry?
Are there specific payments indicated on the IFMIS as accommodation and domestic travel?
Yes, there are some.
Like on what pages?
Pages 17,
Yes.
21, 22, 27, 28 of our volume 2.
So if there are specific entries for per diems, can the governor be heard to say that the unexplained prepayments are also per diems when the system has a way of capturing per diems?
No, they can't.
To the best of your knowledge, can an officer hold more than one imprest at a time?
Of course not, because it is against the PFM regulations of 2015.
Which regulation in particular?
Regulation 93, 4B, and 8 of the Public Finance Management.
So if an officer cannot hold more than one imprest at a time, What do we make of situations where we see the governor's relatives receiving several prepayments on the same day? Wouldn't that mean they were holding several imprest on that day?
Yes, they were.
As a matter of fact, can we see on the IFMIs instances where the governor's relatives were paid 6 times on the same day, 8 times on the same day, 5 times on the same day?
Yes, and the evidence is on pages 17 to 29 of volume 2.
The imprest the governor has submitted, are they all accompanied by signing sheets?
Most of them are not.
Most of them are not.
Yes.
The claim that an officer receives imprest on behalf of an entire delegation, would it require each member to sign the signing sheet, even if one officer received the money in its entirety?
Yes, individually they should.
Has that been shown?
No.
Does the law permit use of imprest to make huge payments of money?
It doesn't allow.
As a matter of fact, imprest is confined to small payments that are done routinely and therefore cannot conveniently be paid through the ordinary payment system, isn't it?
That is true.
So would it then be a valid answer, given the law, on when imprest can be used? Would it be a valid answer to be told that 107 prepayments amounting to 78 million shillings were done by way of imprest that we have not even seen?
No, that would be abuse of imprest.
Did the governor produce the imprest she has now produced before the Senate, before the county assembly?
They blatantly refused to.
She blatantly refused.
Yeah.
You told us they are not signed. I want you to show us a few that are not signed by the validating officers. Please show the Senate.
Pages 93.
Mr. Speaker, we're referring to the governor's bundle,
Yes.
the one with the blue pages.
93. On that particular payment voucher for Rose Kinya, who is
This
the
is a
governor's
payment to the governor's sister, right?
sister, amounting to 25,400. The payment voucher has not been signed by the examiner. That is examination. The payment voucher has not been signed by the Director of Accounts or CEO Finance.
Let's go to the one, the payment voucher at page 108. Is it signed by the examiner?
No, it is not.
Who is it issued to?
Rose Kinya, the governor's sister.
Is it signed by the accounting officer?
No, it is not.
Let's go to the one at page 131. Who is it issued to?
The one that at page 108
Yes.
is only signed by the AIE holder, who is the COS, indicating the chief of staff.
Okay.
Yes.
And the one at page 131, who is it issued to?
Rose Kinya, the governor's sister.
Is it signed by the director of accounting or chief finance officer?
No, it is not.
Let's go to the one at page 120. It shows voucher number 68458 was issued in the name of who?
Rose Kinya.
That voucher, according to the IFMI's extract at page 23 of our volume 2, to whom was the money paid?
It was pinned to Kadure Rokaria Catherine.
Is that an irregularity where the governor's sister is the one who surrenders the purported imprest? But on IFMIS, the money is misrepresented as being paid to Catherine.
Yes, it is an irregularity.
Does this show why even people who are not the governor's relatives, the impeachment motion still accuses the governor?
Sorry?
Does this show the connection between the governor's relatives and other irregular payments to third parties?
Yes, it does.
Let's still stick to that payment to Catherine Rokaria. How much amount is indicated on IFMIS?
On the IFMIS extract, it is indicated
$107,500
107,500 shillings.
How about the one indicated on the governor's voucher for that payment? How much is indicated?
117,600.
There is a variance of over 10,000, isn't it?
Yes, there is.
Would this constitute fraudulent accounting?
Yes, it is.
Let's come to the specific embezzlement. Let's look at the acceptance of the imprest on page 282 of the governor's volume. That is a signing sheet for a journey of how many days, sir?
2 days.
2 days. The cover letter is on the previous page, which is page?
281.
281. Who are the people going on this journey?
Her Excellency Bishop KAWIRA MWANGAZA, the governor, Miriam Gwantai, the personal assistant, who is also the sister to the governor, Rose Kinya, a security officer to the governor, who is also sister to the governor, Kenneth Murangiri, a driver, indicated as a driver, and Moses Kubania, indicated as
Who is Kenneth Murangiri indicated there?
he is the brother to the governor.